What up, everybody? Welcome back to J-Fabe Wrestling. And yes, we're at the time. It's WrestleMania season just after Survivor Series, so you know what that means. It's time for me to fantasy book WrestleMania 40. And this is very exciting. And unlike the previous videos where, it's kind of in my own universe, I'm actually going to be booking based on what's happening right now. So I'm trying to be as realistic as possible, but trying to make the best card as possible. So let's get into it. So let's start off with some of the cross-branded matches. Of course, we're gonna have the women's WrestleMania Battle Royal and the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. So this is just to get everyone else on the card who's not on the card. Probably gonna be on the pre-show. So yeah. All right. Now next up we got probably one of the more obvious matches. We got Jey Uso versus Jimmy Uso. Um, really not much more to be said here. Jimmy Uso cost Jey Uso the match at SummerSlam, and they just kind of keep them separated here. Where Jey Uso's on Raw, Jimmy Uso's on SmackDown, but they're definitely gonna fight at WrestleMania. Um, yeah, I mean I don't really need to talk about the build. It builds itself up, brother versus brother. Bloodline versus Bloodline should be a great match. And they've been both doing really good work. Jey Uso's been really doing good face work, and Jimmy Uso's doing some funny comedic heel work. If you told me like 5 years ago that the Usos would each have their singles run, I wouldn't believe it. But man, the character development, the Bloodline storyline, just great stuff, and it should be a great match at WrestleMania. Another Raw versus SmackDown match I have is Kevin Owens versus Drew McIntyre. So this can also come off from, Drew McIntyre attacking Sami Zayn. And he's just complaining, and Kevin Owens can eliminate him from the Royal Rumble. Drew McIntyre can, take him out as well, put him through the announce table. And their feud is simple, Kevin Owens can say, I've been screwed just as much as you, but I'm not here whining and complaining. And Drew McIntyre can say, you know what, you had your moment. Last year, you won the tag titles. I've been screwed out of my moment, and I want my moment. And you know what? Even though it's not winning the world title, beating you at WrestleMania will be a great moment for me. So, yeah, they can just cut some promos. They can, evade each other's shows, put some attacks on each other. So, yeah, good stuff there. So, yeah, those are the four Raw versus SmackDown kind of matches. Now we're going to get into it. Let's start from the Raw side. First match, we got Zoey Starks versus Trish Stratus. So yeah, we haven't seen Trish Stratus since Payback, I believe, and that's when Zoey Starks, attacked Trish Stratus after the match here. It just makes sense, Trish can say, I mentored you and you become a loser. And she could talk about how she lost to Rhea Ripley at Survivor Series, and she could say, you don't deserve to be mentored by Trish Stratus. And Zoey Starks can say, the reason you had a second run is because I had your back. I had to fight your battles. And yeah, this would be a good match. I assume Trish would put the younger star Zoey Starks over. Yeah. All right, next up we got Awesome Truth reuniting. Yes, The Miz and R-Truth versus the Judgment Day. Dominic Mysterio and JD McDonough. You can have R-Truth continue to try to get into Judgment Day. He could get beat up, and The Miz can tell him, what's wrong with you, Truth? Why do you want to join the Judgment Day? And he says, like, man, I don't know. I had no friends. And The Miz can remind him about Awesome Truth. And then, you know what? The Judgment Day realize that they can actually use R-Truth, so they're actually being nice to him and trying to recruit him. But then R-Truth makes his decision. He joins Awesome Truth here. So, yeah, this should be a fun match. Miz is having another great run again, as a face. And yeah, it's been a while since we've seen Awesome Truth together, and it only makes sense from what they're building. All right, speaking of the Judgment Day, next match I got Finn Balor versus Damian Priest. They can, accidentally eliminate each other in the Royal Rumble, and there could be some tension here between who's the leader. Is it Finn Balor? Is it Damian Priest? And Damian Priest says, you know what? As a true leader, I challenge you, Finn Balor, at WrestleMania to see who's the true leader of the Judgment Day. And Finn's like, I accept only if you put the Money in the Bank briefcase on the line. So yeah, there it is. And Here you can actually have Damian Priest maybe turn face, actually have Rhea Ripley align with Finn Balor, help Finn Balor win, and Finn Balor becomes new money in the bank. It only makes sense because there's been a lot of tension between Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest. And yeah, I think it'd be good to have Damian Priest get another face run, as you know he's been teased as likely to leave the Judgment Day, so it only makes sense. All right, next match we got Sami Zayn versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Yeah, um, this match writes itself. Obviously, NXT Takeover Dallas, classic match, and yeah, Sami Zayn can say, you know what, uh, he wants to right some of the wrongs, in his career, and he wants to challenge Shinsuke Nakamura at WrestleMania because Sami Zayn has never beaten Shinsuke, and Shinsuke could laugh and say, Sami, we used to be great friends. I accept, shake his hand, and hit Sami with the miss. And yeah, they could just cut promos here. Sami Zayn could talk about how Shinsuke used to be a friend. Now, he's an enemy, and you can have Shinsuke do his anime or whatever promo talking about Sami Zayn, a conquering hero, but he's gonna become a loser. So stuff like that. I think this would be a great match, and I'd give Sami Zayn the win. I'm hoping that Sami Zayn can become a world champion soon, and I think having a classic match at WrestleMania will definitely help the case. All right, next up we got the Raw Tag Team Championships, SmackDown Tag Team Championships, so the Undisputed Tag Team Championships. We got the Creed brothers versus DIY. So yeah, as I mentioned earlier, Finn and Damian Priest, they could lose the tag titles due to some miscommunication there, so that kind of starts their feud. And yeah, the Creed brothers are pretty over. And DIY, they just win a number one contenders tournament. And yeah, it can be like, they want to... they want to do it again on the main stage, WrestleMania, DIY winning the tag titles. But the Creed brothers, they're just very dominant, and it kind of looks like, yeah, man, this is going to be a tough one. And I'd actually give DIY the great moment at WrestleMania. I think, those two put in a lot of time. Ciampa and Gargano, man, their feud was epic, and they deserve a moment like this at WrestleMania. All right, next time we got the Raw Women's Championship. We got Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch. Kind of straight up, Becky Lynch is like the only Raw Women's wrestler that Rhea Ripley hasn't defeated yet. So, yeah, Rhea can, she can continue to dominate, say she's the greatest of all time. Becky could come out and say, you can't be the greatest of all time if you haven't even beaten me. I'm the one who, put the women on the map. I'm the one who won the main event of WrestleMania. Stuff like that. And she says, no matter how long your title reign is, it means nothing if I ain't, on your list. So, yeah, Becky could win the Elimination Chamber. I'll actually have another woman win the Royal Rumble. So, yeah, and they could just have great promos here and there. Rhea can, attack Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch can, try to break Rhea's arm. Stuff like that. This match is kind of penciled in, it seems like, because there's no other challengers for Rhea Ripley. All right. Next, we got the Intercontinental Championship. We got the Ring General, Gunther versus Brock Lesnar. So, yeah, Gunther, he could say, kind of like Rhea, I have no more challenges. He's thinking of, maybe I should relinquish the Intercontinental Championship because no one's worthy. Brock Lesnar comes out, and Gunther could be like, finally, someone worthy, shakes his hand. Brock goes for the F5. And, yeah. And they could just have different brawls where Brock is just, beating Imperium up. Gunther could try to attack him from behind, stuff like that. And, yeah, this match is definitely rumored last year, so only makes sense to have it this year. And you got to give Gunther the win. It'll be for the Intercontinental Championship. And yeah, Brock can also say, like, he never won the IC title and all that. But, yeah, it doesn't matter, though. Gunther gets the win here. I think this solidifies Gunther as, main event. He's already a main eventer, but this just even further solidifies him by beating Brock Lesnar. And I think from there, he could win the World Heavyweight Championship. I think they're having a a show in Germany or something like that. So Gunther could definitely win there. Yeah, I think this would be a nice name to put on Gunther's resume. And the main event for um, Raw is Seth Rollins versus CM Punk. We saw their promo last week where Seth was talking about how WWE is his home and CM Punk should never call it his home because he left and he had some bad words to say, stuff like that. And I think there's just going to be even more epic promos where CM Punk could talk about how he brought Seth Rollins in. That if it wasn't for his pipe bomb, Triple H wouldn't even look at Seth Rollins. And he could talk about how he brought him in as in the Shield, and he could talk about how Seth Rollins, he's just jealous because no matter how much he thinks he's the man, the fans still chant CM Punk. And Seth Rollins could come back and say, you're desperate, CM Punk, because what happened in your last wrestling run. He could talk about that and say, you're not going to do that around here because this is my show. So, and yeah, this is going to be a great match. I think finally both men deserve this. That's a good thing about the night one, night two concept. We do get two main events, so I think Seth Rollins and CM Punk definitely deserve it. In my booking of this, I'd have CM Punk definitely win the Royal Rumble, and he could tease who he's want to face, and then he chooses Seth Rollins, and you could just have some fun promos from there. So yeah, that is the Raw side of things. Now let's get into the SmackDown side of things. First up, we got Carmelo Hayes versus AJ Styles. So I know Carmelo Hayes is in the U.S. title tournament here. And AJ Styles just turned heel. He attacked LA Knight, but I know that'd be a good match to have, but I have something different for LA Knight. So this can kind of just be, Carmelo looking for respect and AJ not respecting the young guy. And yeah, I think this would be a great match. I'd give Carmelo Hayes the win. He's a new upcoming star here, and yeah, it gives AJ something to do because it was really hard to be honest to find something for him to do. But him versus Carmelo Hayes sounds like a great match. All right, next up we got Rey Mysterio versus Santos Escobar. This match writes itself. Santos turned on Rey Mysterio. He attacked Rey Mysterio. He injured him. And I know Ray is kind of out right now. Hopefully, he'll be okay by WrestleMania season. And it only makes sense to have this blood feud here, Rey Mysterio versus Santos Escobar. And you got to give Santos Escobar the win. He's a new upcoming, star right now. He's got a little bit of Alberto Del Rio vibes, with his mannerisms, with talking about how much money he has, but he also has a unique wrestling style. I think, he has all the talent in the world, and I think this would be a great rub to defeat Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania. All right, next up we got the Brawling Brutes versus the Business Profits. This is straight up who's the better stable on SmackDown. We could have them kind of face off in the Royal Rumble. They could brawl a bit, and Sheamus, he can fight Bobby Lashley at the next pay-per-view, and they could all interfere and they could just have a 6-man tag team brawl here. And yeah, I'd actually give the Brawling Brutes the win. Sheamus could hit the broad kick on one of the Street Profits guys. So yeah, I think this would be a fun tag team match to have. And Sheamus and Bobby Lashley definitely deserve to be on the card as well. All right, next up we got Randy Orton versus Solo Sikoa. Obviously Randy, he wants revenge on the bloodline, so you could have Randy versus Roman at the Rumble. Solo costs Randy the match, and it just builds from there. Where Solo saying Randy's a legend. No, I'm gonna kill him. It just makes sense. The young guy versus the veteran. Randy could talk about Umaga and say that Solo has nothing compared to Umaga. So yeah, you could just make it personal like that, and I think you got to give Solo the win. I think he's gonna have a feud with Roman Reigns down the line, so it only makes sense for him to win. All right, now we got the Women's Tag Team Championship. I have the Kabuki Warriors, yes, so I'd have the Kabuki Warriors win the titles, before Mania versus Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. Yes. So originally I did have Bianca versus Charlotte in a non-title match, but there's news that Charlotte is going to be out for 9 months with a knee injury. So yeah, I had to pivot. Obviously, this goes back to Bianca getting screwed by the damage control. Um, so obviously, yeah, Kabuki Warriors, yeah, they're still in the damage control. So kind of continues that feud, and Bianca's trying to look for a partner. And every time Bianca picks a partner, I'd have the Kabuki Warriors, damage control, just attack that partner. And you know what? At the last SmackDown before WrestleMania, she could bring out Jade Cargill. I think it'd be a great moment. Yeah, and obviously Jade Cargill, she's still learning the ropes, but I think having her in a tag team match makes sense, and I feel like you gotta take advantage of the signing. She can't miss WrestleMania, in my opinion. She's too much of a star, so yeah, I'd have Bianca and Jade get the win, and obviously this will build towards their feud down the line. All right, we got now with the SmackDown Women's Championship. So I'd actually have IYO Sky still be champion against the Royal Rumble winner Bayley. So yes, that makes sense. Bayley wins. Um, and yeah, I don't know if you guys remember the Batista Triple H thing where Triple H was trying to tell Bayley, not Bayley, Triple H was trying to tell Batista to fight the SmackDown champion. So you could have the same thing here where Kabuki Warriors, IYO Sky, Dakota Kai are telling Bayley, you should go fight. You should go fight Rhea Ripley. Don't ruin the damage control. And then Bayley could slowly find out that the damage control are plotting to kick her out, beat her up. Doesn't matter what decision she makes. And then yeah, Bayley can finally make the decision, finally turn face. I think it'll be a great reaction. And yeah, she definitely deserves a Rumble win as well. She's one of the great women's wrestlers who hasn't won the Rumble yet, so she definitely deserves it. And I don't think Bayley has gotten like a big moment at WrestleMania, and I think her winning the SmackDown Women's Championship be a great moment. She could bring back, the face Bayley song and start giving hugs again. I think it'd be a cool moment for her. All right. Now we got the U.S. Championship match. We got Logan Paul versus LA Knight. You could just kind of build off the feud they were having at Money in the Bank, where Logan Paul was talking trash, LA Knight was talking trash. You could even have like a fake segment where Logan tries to get LA Knight on the podcast and it doesn't even start. They start like getting into it. Yeah. They could start. LA Knight could eliminate Logan from the Rumble. Logan could come back in and eliminate LA Knight. So, just the promos here, LA Knight could say he's a new megastar. Logan Paul could say, you ain't even a star compared to me. Look at all the followers I have. Look at all the fans I have. LA Knight could say, you know what, you can have all that, but the one thing you can't is, having the respect from the WWE universe. So, yeah, great match. I think LA Knight should win. This reminds me of like Cena defeating the Big Show, at WrestleMania to get his first U.S. title reign. I think this will only propel LA Knight to the main event probably in the next year. So, yeah. All right. Now we got the main event, the WWE World and WWE Universal Championship. Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes. Yeah, the only thing is like, how do we get here? I have CM Punk winning the Rumble. I think at Elimination Chamber they do something where it's kind of like, again, I kind of got this from someone. I don't know if you guys watched Solid Monster, but someone did say I have Elimination Chamber with all of Roman's previous opponents that got screwed, and I just love that idea. And yeah, Cody wins, second chance, finish the story. Great promos again between Heyman, Cody, Roman. Yeah, I think it builds itself. I think Cody probably should have won last year, but I think him winning it this year will still be a great moment. It kind of continues the tradition of the WrestleManias ending in the zero. Bret Hart, Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, Daniel Bryan. Now we got Cody Rhodes. Finally finishing the story. So, yeah, guys, that is my fantasy booking for WrestleMania 40. Let me know what you guys think. Like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate the support and peace.